Previously on Anything Goes.
For everything, man.
And then you're going to be accused of being
If you can't
prejudiced.
eat a peanut butter sandwich, there's no reason why you should have made it past 5 years old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Natural selection.
They should just put peanut butter on the woman's vagina, and as the baby comes out, and if it's dead, they're like, wasn't
Sorry,
meant to
they
be.
didn't make
This
it.
one didn't make it.
That's a fucking good idea.
Well, now we know.
And sprinkle some flour on it, too,
Yeah.
so if it's a celiac, we don't want that either.
And then just get all these different fresh fruits, because, they should have them just go through, or drag the baby through a smoothie or something like that, of like...
I feel bad for people with allergies. Like, I know,
And now, let's get to a new exciting show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for some laughs? Are you?
Guess which host wears a shirt at the gym that says, "Yes, I farted." This is Anything Goes with Darren Frost,
How the fuck am I funny?
Dave Martin,
What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
and Kathleen McGee.
And I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you!
Can you dig it?
What's wrong? Showing your setup, Dave.
Well, I got this one. I bought it again.
It's nice. It's a good one.
Not that.
How you guys doing? How are you?
Good.
We're good. We just spoke to Jamila and Sean about the whole Second City problem that's going on.
Yeah, what is going on with that?
Well, there's been a whole thing in Toronto and Chicago, decades of racism there, and how it's only just spilled out now. The CEO is
Oh, yeah.
And Jamila
Yeah.
for years and her husband Sean have been saying there's problems and nobody would listen to them. So now it's being not addressed, but at least it's out in the public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing,
Okay.
we don't have good thing we don't have that problems in the stand-up world, huh?
No, it's perfect here. Never happens
Everything's actually
good.
the way it's supposed to. We're all getting along. It's all.
there. It's all get along. It's all Rodney King times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys okay? Everybody's okay?
Yeah, I'm in Barrie now, so I don't even live in Toronto. So it's like I'm
Are
kind
you
of like
living in Barrie?
I'm living in Barrie. So it's been a couple of years. How long have you been in Hamilton now? It's been 5 years.
Yeah, probably. It's 2012. The end of 2012.
So 8
Yeah,
years.
so- Yeah, 8 years. Holy shit.
Wow.
It's been a while. Yeah.
And how are you enjoying that? Before we get into the other stuff, like just living in Hamilton.
You know what? It's a love-hate. Like, I like Hamilton, but I hate it too. But it's quiet. Like, it's really quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing I kind of like about Barrie. It's like it's just not Toronto. It's not certain things culturally I miss about Toronto, but I don't miss the noise.
You don't,
Yeah.
You don't like going to sleep to sirens and people screaming and yelling outside?
But that's the thing. Like, when I lived in Toronto and the first part of Hamilton, we lived right in the club district. When we lived in Toronto, we were at Queen and John. So it was, and then now we're like by Bruce Trail. Like the Bruce Trail backs onto my house, and it's just it's quiet. Yeah,
Nice.
you get to a certain age, you're like, I'm good.
Right.
Okay, but do you ever find like sometimes I'll go and if I went on a fishing trip, my very first one, and then we had to sleep in a house overnight, and it was just out in the middle of nowhere, and then that silence freaked the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I don't like that shit.
Yeah, it was like too quiet.
Yeah, when I say silence, I mean like there's cars and stuff. I just
I like having a little car just to know that someone else is out there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I watch too many horror movies, man. I can't
Exactly.
do that.
Those are the ones that freak me out, like The Strangers. Like a crazy guy in the woods. That freaks
That's
me
the
out.
scariest horror movie of all time, The Strangers. I hate that
Is it?
movie.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you don't.
It's so scary.
If you live in an isolated area, like even in Barrie, I wouldn't. It's sort of like, and it shows you how creepy. If you look at
Even in Barrie.
even in Barrie.
I think that the thing with The Strangers is that it's like they make it out that it's like no, there was no reason for them. They just felt like murdering these people. Like it's so random. That's the scary part.
Right, but it's also the kind of thing where you if you look out your window, what's scarier? Someone just standing there completely still, or like someone just breakdancing?
Dancing?
I don't know, just really-
That's like
Right,
us.
dancing.
Us was scary like that, where they're like
Yes.
standing at the top of the driveway, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with us was that like if you were in the Us universe, you'd have to be like, okay, there's something more to this than just crazy people. Yeah. But in the Strangers, it's just like you're just in a random house out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And 3 people just showed up in a pickup truck, and they're gonna fuck you up. So
it's like why Clockwork Orange fucked up people for so long, right?
Yeah.
It's that random violence that there's nothing that you can think of why it happened.
Right.
Yeah. There's no reason.
Yeah.
That's most of the movies in the 80s. A lot of the horror movies in the 80s was like white flight fear, like the urban or people from the city are coming to get you.
Right.
White flight. It was a lot of that shit. So it was, yeah.
I just watched
Reagan.
yeah. Yeah. That'd be a great horror movie now. Just Reagan coming to get you.
It was a lot of the Friday the 13th were like apparently like about Reagan, about like kids having sex and then they get killed. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I just watched like a 6-hour documentary on Nightmare on Elm Street, the whole series.
Yeah.
And then I was told there's a 9-hour one on the Friday the 13th where they break them all down, like you're saying, what they do and why and all that.
Yeah.
Well, I recently just saw it was on one of the movie channels that they had like a free preview for, and I recently saw Return of the Living Dead.
Oh wow!
Which was from I think 1985, and I remember my dad. We were on a trip to Florida in '85 or '84, and my dad took me to Return of the Living Dead, and that's the one where all the punk rockers go to party in the graveyard, and then they burn this sort of zombie thing, and then all the toxins go up into the sky, and it rains down, and then that activates all the zombies, and then they come alive. And I'm watching this movie, and I remember it freaked the shit out of me when I was like 13 or 14. And then I'm watching it again going, man, I must have been a real pussy back then because this is not that scary. And also,
back then, yeah.
Back then, as I hid under a blanket watching it a week ago. But it's always like those people that are really afraid of Jaws. I'm like, just stay away from the water. You'll be okay.
I don't know, man. I watched horror movies when I was a kid. When I was like, I must have been 4, and I watched Amityville Horror. That was terrifying. 4 years old. You're not supposed to watch that shit when you're 4. Yeah.
No, I know my dad would be like, hey, come on, watch See No Hero Evil. This is great.
Yeah. No.
I mean, when my kid was 9, my first kid, he went to grandma's house and they let him watch Spider-Man, the first movie, and he came back traumatized by that just because of some of the action and the blood and stuff. And I'm like, I can't imagine being 4 and you're watching The Shining or Amityville Horror or,
Jesus. The Shining's terrifying to me now.
Yes, for a different reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's psychological. It's more psychological than, like a body count.
Yeah.
My first horror movie was Poltergeist, and I'll never forget that guy ripping his face off.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that whole movie.
I remember older kids talking about that movie when I was like a younger kid, but I didn't see it. It took me, I saw it maybe like 10 years later after it originally came out. But I remember older kids in school talking about it, going like, "Ooh, what's that?" Ooh, I want to see that.
Have you seen the new Rambo? I just watched it on Friday.
I haven't yet. No, is it any good?
It's basically horror. Like the way it's all gore, like the way he stabs people, and it's horror. But it's fine. It's it's Last Blood.
But because I know you're a big pop culture guy as well. Did you watch Stranger Things and did you enjoy it or no?
Yeah, I liked it. I don't understand people's obsession with the 80s though. Like it wasn't a good time. But people love it. But yeah, I liked it. I like the first season the best, probably.
Yeah.
I noticed one thing. I noticed one thing though when it came to like Stranger Things or a lot of movies that take place in the 80s, because you could tell that they're being written by someone from today, obviously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like when they're stuck with like, oh wait, there's no cell phones. How are they gonna communicate? And then someone's like, ooh, walkie-talkies. Yeah. So like now that everyone in the 80s had a walkie-talkie. That's how we're communicating. And it's just all these like weird things that they have to sort of skip over because they didn't have that technology then that like, oh, well, now we'll make it work because everyone will have a walkie-talkie. Where you're sort of like, I didn't have a walkie-talkie growing up.
I did.
Well, why won't you return my walkie-talkie calls?
Don't you remember the movie Big?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's big walkie-talkie scenes
Yeah,
in
seen
Big.
that. Yeah, yeah.
I'm surprised the Me Too movement never came after Big, because when you watch it now, you're going like, is she wants to fuck a 13-year-old boy. That's who that. I mean, she doesn't know that Tom Hanks is.
She didn't want to fuck a third. She wanted to fuck Tom Hanks.
I know, but
How would you feel if you wanted to fuck a woman and then found out she was 12?
you know,
Don't answer, Dave. Don't answer.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
Need the guy from Star Wars with the fish eyes to be like, it's a trap. Don't answer it. It's in the past. It happens. It was a week ago. I know, but it's still in the past.
So 48 hours ago, I think it's been, Dave Chappelle released the YouTube clip. And it's funny how there's some of the reviews of it. And one of them that I read was, it was very interesting that they kept on calling it a special and saying it was either good or not. And in my opinion, I don't know if I would call it a special. First of all, it wasn't on a platform. It was put on YouTube for free. Mm-hmm. It's only 27 minutes. And I don't think it should be held to the same bar as his last Netflix special.
With a message.
The message for sure. I'm not saying
the message
important, but the
message, that's what it was though. It wasn't a special. It was a message for everybody to see.
Yeah, right. But some of the blowback from it is a bit about it's not.
I didn't know there was blowback.
Special. Well, it's not as much of a special, and it takes a long time to get to things, that kind of thing. It's like, first of all, it was free. It was put on YouTube, and it's not on a Netflix presents hour-long show. It's socially distanced. It's an odd time.
Those people are assholes. That's an asshole to review that as anything like it's a special.
Yeah.
I mean, like, nothing was prepared.
I think it was kind of done out of his own frustration, because
that's what I mean.
I think so many people were just like, what does Dave Chappelle have to say? What does Dave Chappelle have to say?
Yeah.
And then he was finally like, okay, I'll say this. And I mean, it wasn't on Netflix. It was done through the Netflix YouTube. Netflix is a joke. But it's like people were sort of like, yeah, well, as a special, I saw someone say, oh, it's a special, it sucked. And I'm like, it's not. It's
special.
It's sort of like, it's like he's cutting out the middleman so he doesn't have to go on Howard Stern or any of the Sirius XM shows or any other show and be like, I think. He just is like throwing it out there and going like, this is what I have to say about it.
I don't think anyone that looked at it didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So I think when you see those critiques, it's people being contrarians. Because I don't know how you not look at that and go, like, even the venue, him outside, he was nervous at the top. You can tell, like, and then going into what he was talking about, it was like, well, do you really need jokes for this? Like, he's talking about something serious, and it's like, I don't know. I can't see how anyone would look at it and go, yeah, that wasn't a great special. That just sounds like someone who's contrarian. I knew what I was getting into.
Right.
That also seems like a bit of a thing though that is just happening these days. That like anytime that anything comes out, there's always this group of people that are just sort of like, why isn't it exactly the way I want it to be?
Yeah.
Well, you're not Dave Chappelle. This is how he feels. He's going to do whatever the fuck he wants, and it just seems to be like everything. Everybody wants everything to be exactly for them. Whether it's a special or an apology or anything. So it's just a sad state of affairs in many ways.
It was riveting. The whole thing was riveting. It was amazing. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was refreshing. I thought something just to hear that was like, oh, there was a lot of things where he made him seem like him talking about like his being born, what was it, 846? Is that what he said?
Yes.
Like stuff like that. It was kind of like just Mark Twain kind of storytelling. Like it's very like, I don't know if it's true, but it just adds to the story. Like it was amazing. Like that type of stuff is like, you just saw Chappelle at a different level other than just a stand-up. You just saw him as a storyteller, as someone that who can act. Like that was some amazing acting to be in that moment and do that. I don't know. I just thought it was great.
To me, like Chappelle and Chris Rock, they always have jokes that it's like, I don't want to say they're obvious, But as soon as they say them, you say to yourself, why has no one else thought that exact thought? Because it's so great. And there doesn't have to be like 50 of those in a special for me. If there's 2 or 3 of those in a special or anything, then that is enough. Just to have those things. And for me, that 25 minutes, did I laugh a lot? No. Was there a couple times I laughed a lot? Yes. Was there a lot of times where I'm like, whoa, that was heavy or good? A lot of that. And like you said, if you're going to be against it, it does seem more contrary. And that's a good point. I never thought of it that way. Yeah, I think that is what's going on.
But I agree with you. Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock are 2 comics where I want to hear more about their ideas than their jokes.
Yes.
I want to hear their perspective than the joke. Even and a lot. Louis C.K. was one of those, and Bill Burr is another one, and Patrice O'Neill. I want to hear the perspective on something, more than the joke. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I've talked to Dave many times about Patrice. I always enjoy Patrice in an interview situation more than his stand-up per se. Because it's not that his guard was down. It wasn't prepared. It was off the top of his head. And some of those interviews on Fox are so funny that you're like, this is a different level. That doesn't mean his stand-up was bad, but when he was in the moment of just being himself, it's a different level.
Yeah,
Every time something happens, I'm like, I wish Patrice O'Neill was here because I really want to know what his perspective would be on this. Because he always had, like, an amazing perspective on almost everything.
Yeah.
He's very flawed, and I think that was amazing about him. That's what I love about Bill Burr when he said that honesty is about honesty isn't about being right. And I think that's important with comedy. It's like it's not about being right; it's about being honest. I think Patrice is like that. Like it's he's very flawed, but it was awesome how he navigated stuff.
Well, it's like I think Chris Rock's one of my favorites, and it was like the one joke that he had about. It's like every time that you see a lot of these people that are on these news programs and they're talking about the police, they always go, "Oh, well, we got a few bad apples. There's a few bad." And like Chris Rock had an amazing joke that immediately cuts to.
Oh my God!
What the point of the whole bad apples excuse, and it's not. He just said, if American Airlines said, "Well, we got a few bad apples in our pilots. Most of our pilots like to land on the ground and like to land safely on the ground. We got a few bad apples that like to crash into the side of a mountain." It's like nobody would put up with that, and that's one of the moments where you sort of say like, yeah, that's a great joke, but that cuts right to the point of and it kind of blows that whole right-wing argument out of the water of just like, well, no, you don't. A few bad apples when it comes to cops is not. Don't accept that. My other favorite one when it comes to like a lot of white right-wing sort of pundits is that they always go by these numbers, and it's sort of like, well, actuality that there's more white people that get shot by police than black people on average, and so they'll pull out these numbers, and it's like not. And I've never seen one of those like political guys going like, well, like that's not good either. When they say it's like, well, why is that an excuse of like, well, more white people are shot by police? Well, that's not. I don't like that idea either. It's like, how about cops just stop shooting unarmed people?
Bootlickers gonna lick boots, man. That's what they do.
Yeah,
they love their cops. That's what they're gonna do. I don't know. I think those arguments. That's why I don't go on Facebook anymore, because it's like you're just yelling at a wall. Like it's just those people are gonna believe what they're gonna believe.
Yeah,
they're gonna put out stats, and stats could be changed to fit any narrative.
Right.
And you're just gonna put them out there and just follow those things, and it's like, what am I arguing with you?
Right.
Like I can't argue with people who say systemic racism doesn't exist anymore. I just can't. I'm not going to prove. I can't talk to you.
It's interesting because in the last 2 years, I've read a lot of threads that you've either been involved in or got pulled into.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But what I really have enjoyed is that you've always tried to keep it on point. Like they say something and they will not back it up. And you keep asking for proof and keep using their word, and they'll never back it up. They'll always try to play the shell game of, no, but over here. And you've constantly got to keep bringing them back into, no, you said this happened. Because I guess this happened a week ago. Someone said something. I wish I could remember what the thread was. But it was like about something that their friend was shot or something, or someone they knew got shot.
Yeah, and they're blaming it on Antifa or something. It's always something like, it's some talking point. It's like, I think I have a problem. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I have a problem, not with like, I had a debate with someone about the N-word, and how they said it wasn't inherently racist or inherently bad. And I'm like, well, it is, because it doesn't mean anything else than what it means, right? It's a racial slur. But it was a comic, and their argument was based on that George Carlin, the idea of like, there's the words, swear words don't really mean anything. And a lot of comics came at me and they were like, well, you're saying that he can't say it. I'm like, I'm not saying he can't say it, because you can say it in context. Anyone can say the word.
Right.
But to deny that the word isn't inherently bad or doesn't have inherent meaning.
Right.
And I think a lot of people got confused with that, because it's like you're stuck to a talking point. And I think that's what I hate about Facebook, is people are stuck in talking points and they don't really think out their ideas. Like, it sounds very pretentious, but it's just, nobody wants to like just think their idea with themselves, as opposed to something they heard. Everyone's taking sides. Everyone's partisan. Everyone's taking a side, as opposed to like, I'm going to think out an idea for myself.
Right.
And that's what annoys me. So then I have to be a crusader on that.
Yeah.
Stuff. But yeah.
It's funny. There's the only time I've ever said the word on stage is because it was something that happened to me and Jean-Paul, that someone said something to him. So to tell the story, I had to say it in the story.
But it's in context.
It is in context. But I'll tell you why I stopped doing the bit. I did it a couple times. The bit worked for the most part. It didn't get a huge laugh, but the point was important. Someone came up to me, I can't remember who, and they said, look, I'm not saying the bit isn't good, but it really looks like you're trying to get away with saying the word in the bit. So I never did the bit again. Because my attitude is like, if that's what anyone is getting from it, then it's not something I want to go down that road on. And the same thing as what you're saying. It's like, if people don't think that word is inherently bad, I don't know where they've lived the last.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. I mean, it doesn't mean anything else. You can't use it in a sentence. You can use fuck, shit, piss, all those words for something else.
Right.
You can't use that word for anything else.
Right.
And I think sometimes people just don't think through their arguments. They just, I think comics do that a lot, where we just kind of defend an idea, like we're on a side of something, and we're like, freedom of speech, and I get all that, and I'm for that. It's just sometimes we don't have to die on every hill. Like every hill, we don't have to die on every hill. Yeah. Sometimes,
I remember this one time, Stuart Silver, rest in peace, was talking to another comic, and they were both Jewish, and Stuart told this joke, and I can tell it because he's dead, and he makes a joke about how he met this guy. He was an Hasidic Jew, and he was selling hash. Guy was, a Hasidic Jew selling hash, and Stuart goes, I didn't pay full price. I Jewed him down. Right?
Yeah.
And this was a joke he did on stage, and some people didn't like it. So he was telling this other comic who was Jewish, thinking the other comic would be like, no, that joke's okay. But the other comic actually said, no, I don't like that joke. It's not right. You're using it as a verb, and it's not. Because Stuart automatically thought that person was going to be on their side because they were a comic.
Yeah.
They can't be on your side every time if you're wrong.
No. Because we're humans, and that's what makes us comics, is our honesty.
Yeah.
Also, it's like context of saying that word, like Jew them down. Like Stuart's playing at Yuck Yucks. He's going to be playing small towns. There's no Jewish people in those audiences, and you're letting it fly.
Yeah.
It's like, I get where the guy was coming from.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you know him. He's a comic, but he's playing a character. His name's Wheeler Walker Jr. I don't know. Do you know him? Darren?
I know him. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't know, but he's like, he's a comic and he plays up. He's, in his songs, he's very he's misogynistic and he's really raunchy and they're super rude. But he's playing this character, and he found that a lot of people were getting into the character, but they didn't know it was a character. They thought it was really him.
Yeah.
And they were sort of going along with it, going like, yeah, man, I love your shit, man. And his songs are so over the top. When you hear them, you're just sort of like, oh my God, it's so over the top. It's very funny. But the country music is really good. But he found that too many people were taking it seriously and didn't know it was a parody of this sort of country singer. So he had to drop the bit. And it was sort of like, it's very hard for comics to walk away from a joke that gets a laugh. And so I can understand why Stewart might be like, "Oh, I don't want to give up a joke," but then
It's also
at the same
a different
time, it's sort of
time.
like, is that the comic that you want to be?
Yeah.
that You have to.
Well, it's
worry
like, remember Dice? Dice cried on Arsenio, and he literally said, "It's a character. People think this is me. It's a character." You know, it's like, okay, Dice, I get it, but at the same time, some of the things your character's saying ain't cool.
Well, and also,
Kurt Cobain. My wife went to see Nirvana in Buffalo, and that song "Rate Me." I don't know Nirvana too much, but "Rate Me." All the people that Kurt Cobain didn't like, all the jocks were like singing along with this song.
Yeah.
It was just like,
they don't get it.
Yeah, you're not getting it. You don't get it. Yeah.
They
Beastie
don't know that
Boys,
song's
same
about
kind of deal.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
you
they
can't
had to-
control.
Even the Beastie Boys has had to kind of almost walk back from that past and apologize and really feel bad about that image that they projected, because in their mind they thought it was a joke and everybody had been on the joke, and then it turned out the crowds that were coming out were the kinds of dudes that were not get it as a joke.
Yeah.
You can't pick your fans sometimes, and then you've got to do something about it.
No, you cannot.
No.
You can't.
No.
It's easy for me when you don't have any fans in the first place.
I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say the exact same thing. Are you guys doing stand-up at all, or no?
No.
I just headlined a comic strip last weekend.
How was it?
It was really fun. It was sold out, half capacity.
Yeah, because you can't do full, right?
Were there masks in the audience?
You know what? Not a lot of people were wearing masks, but everybody was quite far apart. There was sanitizer everywhere. All the servers wore masks. All the comics had their own mic. It was different, and some of the crowds were really receptive, and some were really scared to laugh. So it was kind of like a little bit normal, but a lot like not normal. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I find that
times.
I don't really miss. I hate saying this, but I don't really miss doing stand-up. But I miss comics. Like I miss hanging around funny people.
Yeah, the
and
camaraderie.
shooting the shit back and forth. I mean, that's why I like I like what Darren and Kathleen and I are doing now with this. It's sort of like a chance to engage with people. But the idea of going up on stage is sort of like, it's that weird thing about, it's like if you don't talk about COVID or the shit that's going on the news and stuff, you feel like a phony. But then at the same time, you have to wonder, does the audience want to hear about this, or do they just want to?
It's like the Trump effect. Who knows? Because people got really tired of Trump jokes, and there was a bit of a Trump effect. So I wonder what will happen. I mean, when was the last time you did stand-up, Gavin?
Oh my God, it must have been just before all this. It was a couple of weeks before all this happened, so in March sometime.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't done it in a while. I'm with Dave. I don't miss it, but I do miss it. Like I haven't written anything because I think it's pointless right now. Because I can't. Yes, someone said it best. It's like blue balls. Like you can't work it out. So you're like whatever. But I do miss hanging out with comics. Every time I hang out with do something like this, I'm like, I forgot this is fun. And then
you'll feel that way when you get up though. When you get up for your first time, you'll be like, oh yeah, I like this. I forgot how much fun this is. I forgot what it's like, and I didn't write it all during it either, but just doing shows, I came up with jokes, because you can say you're not going to do COVID jokes, but that's what everybody relates to right now. And for the first time ever, everybody relates to something. Some people relate to this joke, but everybody in the crowd is going through the exact same thing when it comes to COVID. So you will have COVID jokes, and they'll just come out.
Hi, this is Ernest Borgnine. You're listening to Anything Goes with Darren Frost on Laugh Attack XM Radio.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I was, before this, I was writing a whole bunch of stuff about not wanting to go out and wanting to be at home. But like this is, I think I want that chunk of time between when COVID's kind of over and when everyone's doing COVID jokes, and then we get back into normal. I want that time to be gone. I don't want to be in that where everyone's doing COVID jokes. I just that's gonna be hard, because we're all gonna be doing it. Everybody's gonna be doing COVID.
And
jokes.
you know what's gonna have to happen? people are going to have to start watching the whole show.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have to see what COVID jokes happened before you went on stage or after if you're doing a weekend with someone, because you want to make sure that you're not stepping on toes. And I don't have a problem with that, because there's a lot of comics, and I've done it too, where you just don't watch the whole show. Now you're going to have to watch the whole show.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys.
Good.
Yeah.
I hope you guys don't have jokes about learning how to edge during all this, because that's mine. I claimed it.
Oh, man.
Sorry, boys. It's mine.
20 minutes. It's about 20 minutes.
No edging from this guy. I'm all about getting the poison out. Don't worry. It feels so good getting it out that it probably shouldn't be there in the first place. So,
all the anger, all the anger and hate, get it all out.
Yep.
We just got a couple of minutes, Dave, but go ahead.
I've always been curious about this, and I always wanted to hear your perspective on it. There are people that that are open, like, are either they're openly racist or they have like racial prejudices that they don't try to hide from people. But then they always have that one friend that they're always sort of like, oh, but I love, like Anthony Cumia from the old Opie and Anthony show, and he has his own network, Compound Media. He was a guy that would be on the Opie and Anthony show. He'd say horrible shit, and he would say horrible racist stuff sometimes. And I mean, they usually had like Jim Norton or Opie would be there to sort of balance it out. But Anthony Cumia's favorite comic of all time, and he loved Patrice O'Neal. So I'm always sort of like, how do you wrap your head around someone who's just like, oh, I can't stand this whole group of people, but I know this guy and I love him. It's like the same. I know.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the other example I know, and I know you've done jokes about Charlie Pride, but and who I think Charlie Pride's one of the most bravest men.
I used to be fascinated by him. Yeah,
but he was on one of the Ken Burns country music documentaries, and there's this other sort of country legend, Farron Young, who is openly racist, but he didn't really even know who Charlie Pride was. He heard his music and he loved his music. And then when he actually met Charlie Pride, it was the first time he was like, "Oh my God, you're a black guy. I don't like black guys." And then and then both him and Charlie Pride sang together for a couple of hours at this bar. And then he became best friends with Charlie Pride for life, up to the point where there was a radio DJ that confronted, I think it was Farron Young one time, and said, "Listen, we can't really play Charlie Pride's records on our radio station because he's black." And then Farron Young apparently grabbed the guy by the collar and said, "Listen, if you're not going to play Charlie Pride's music, you're not going to be playing any of my records either." So it's just weird that there are those people that it's always too bad that it takes one person to open up your sort of, to break down your prejudice walls.
I don't know if it's broken down. I don't think it is either. I
think you're just lucky that you got one person you like.
Yeah.
Well, George Washington had sex with his slaves. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. It's just.
That's why I've always thought it's such bullshit when someone says, "I can't be a racist. My girlfriend's black." I'm like, well, I don't.
Well, everyone's a racist. Like everybody, and the worst people are the ones that say they can't be a racist. Yeah. Like that's the thing. We had Sam Norton on our podcast. And we were talking about that. It's like, he's like, I am racist, and it's something I had to work on. I'm like, yeah, we all are. We grew up in a society that is built on white supremacy, and we just gotta. That's how it works. We all have prejudices. We all have racism. It's just how it is, and it's just an honest thing to be. I thought you were gonna say Patrice O'Neal because he hung out with Anthony Cumia.
Oh yeah, no, Patrice O'Neal.
You said and it's weird. You have to have like a level of non-judgment as Patrice O'Neal to be in that environment, or the checks are good. One of the two. But I don't. Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah, or both. Yeah. Or both. Yeah.
Because I mean, Anthony would be, "Oh, I love Patrice. But I'm just sort of like, then why are you spouting off all this other shit about other black people that you just haven't gotten to know yet? I mean, I
think it's like a narcissism, like it's a mental disorder, like that kind of thing. There's no logic to it.
Right.
There really isn't. It's like, Trump loves Kanye West, I guess.
Well, I think he loves Kanye because Kanye said that he loved Trump. It's sort of like it's...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's the same level, right? Like, you appeal to someone, and so you're reaffirming who they are. When you, like, Charlie Pride appeals to him. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I can see you're a human because you hit all the markers I enjoy in a human being.
Right.
You're reflecting myself. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Unfortunate that that's what it takes.
And with the way everything is going now, obviously the world's on fire, and there's going to be a lot of changes in the next 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
What do you think for you, Gavin, personally? What do you think the future is for you in the next year with your stand-up? I know you got a podcast, so you're addressing certain issues. Because I know as a stand-up, the last time I saw you, you were playful, but you still did some topical stuff. And you always try to find that common ground to be a little playful. Do you think you're still going to try to find that line, or do you think you're going to be a little angrier about things?
I don't know if I'm angry. I think I'm at an age where you're just kind of used to status quo. Like, you're used to how things go. Right. And I think these protests have changed a lot of things. The things I've seen that come out of this protest I've never seen in my lifetime. So that's a positive direction. I don't know if I'd be more angry. I think I'd just be more, I'm kind of in a moment where I'm like, I don't care. And I mean that in a good way, where I'm like, I don't need the validation, and I don't care who likes me, and I don't care. I don't need to please bookers. I don't care about that shit. So I don't know where that's going to lead me, but that's where I'm at. It's kind of calm. I'm kind of calm. Right. I would say.
Yeah. I found the older that I get, the more exhausting anger is. Yeah. And you're just where is this going to get me?
Yeah, it's too much. And I found that, like, when I say the validation from bookers, that was a huge thing when I was younger. And it makes you crazy when you don't think you're good enough or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, I can't do that shit anymore. And these people don't know comedy. I'm just if they don't like me, they don't like me. So that's my major beef. Yeah.
Well, for me, I'm definitely not as angry as I was 5 years ago. Obviously, moving to Barrie and being a father. But for me, what the hard thing is now is trying to explain to my children what's going on without having this sense of like, don't get angry about it, Darren. You've got to explain it to them in a non-angry way, and explain why it's happening and what's good about it and what's not good about it. And that's not always easy.
That must be hard to explain to children, because, like, I could explain this stuff in a non-angry way, but I know when it's coming out of my mouth, there's some truths that are just like, oh, this is too technical, or it's too, I don't mean technical, but it's too harsh.
Yeah, yeah.
And I couldn't imagine, like, trying to explain that to children, like, oh, the reason cops are murdering black men is because of blah, blah, blah. It's like, that sounds a hard deal to teach kids.
Well, it's like last week, Kenny Robinson's daughter posted a poster. I don't know if you saw it or not. And it said that my father could have been the next George Floyd. And she went in a protest with it. And my 10-year-old saw the poster because he was sitting beside me. And he said, "What's this?" And I showed it to him. And he goes, "Well, what does that mean?" And he knows Kenny. He's met Kenny. And I explained it to him. And he goes, "But why would he die?" And I had to explain. And his attitude was, "Well, but that's dumb." And I'm like, I don't know what else to tell you then. It is dumb.
It is dumb.
It is dumb.
But I can't say anything more because as a 10-year-old, I just want him to think that, and that's enough for a 10-year-old.
Well, you see, the cops don't really protect us. They protect the corporation. It's like, nah, I can't get into this shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's almost one of the things you almost want to let kids be kids for as long as they can. And so it's sort of like, I mean, I'm sure when your kid gets older, he'll figure out what.
Yeah, but then if you're black, especially in the States, you got to teach your kids. Like Tamir Rice was 14 years old. Like, you got to teach them young. That
you
can get murdered if you don't handle. I mean, that's what they were saying when Tamir Rice was murdered. They were saying how they need to train black kids how to handle the police. That's why they're going to do a course.
Yes.
On how to, which is like, oh, you're not training the cops to handle kids.
Yeah,
you're going to train.
Fucked up.
Yeah, that's how it is, right?
Even a couple days ago, that crazy story out of the Wendy's in the parking lot Like they had his car, he took off. Where is he going? Just he's drunk. He's gonna sober up and need his car.
Well, yeah, they had his name, they had his address, they had his car. It's like he's either.
And even if they did, they would have found him. They would have found him.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't understand this sort of the rush to shoot someone when it's just let the guy run off. He's going to come back to either his car or his house at some point.
But you know what I think it is, and I had a theory about this, and maybe this is far fetched, but there's a thing amongst police that if an assailant ever gets their gun, the other cops shun that cop. So the fact that guy got his taser, I wonder how much of his obviously his ego plays into it, because like we just said, they had his car, they'd be able to find him. But the fact that he got the taser off one of them pissed him off to the point of like, I'm going to show you.
Right.
The gang mentality.
Yes.
Well, this is what I like about the protests. And I mean, this sounds horrible, but white people are getting beaten up, and I don't mean this like white people are getting beaten up. I mean like it shows that you're in it just like us. Like once they're finished with us, they're gonna go on to white people.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you're part of this with us. I was at we protested at the G20, and being in that moment, you realized, oh, the cops are protecting businesses. That's what they're for. They're protecting corporations and businesses, and then they spin the truth. And they don't give a fuck about any of us. So, yeah.
It's that weird thin blue line of just. I mean, I've heard other cops say that there's three colors. There's black, white, and blue, and blue will always protect blue, no matter what other color you are. So,
it's crazy, isn't it? And one of the safest jobs too. Not even top 10 most dangerous jobs. It's a safe job. Yeah. It's based on stats.
Yeah, well, I mean,
top 10.
Yeah, elevator mechanic is a more dangerous job than a police officer.
I've gotten more messages from people who have family members that are cops. Like if I've ever posted anything about Black Lives Matter, or if I posted anything anti-police. Well, my dad's a cop, my brother's a cop, and I'm like thinking, well, I hope they're good cops then. Like I don't know what to tell you. There's clearly a problem with the police in this world right now. I don't care if you're. I don't care if you're a cop. There's a problem. Even.
Am I losing you guys?
No.
Just Kathleen.
Get gross.
Oh, okay.
When she gets really angry, it goes like
no,
that.
it's me.
Sorry.
I'm bad. I got angry earlier.
I don't understand someone messaging you saying cops are bad or my parents are a cop.
Cops are good.
Cops are good.
Yeah.
You know, there's my brother is a cop. He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That argument.
I don't know what that. You want me to shut up about this then? Like,
I know.
Well, you have no idea what they go through, and you have no idea. I'm like, well, you have no idea what Black people go through. Clearly.
Yeah, exactly. You chose a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's one of the greatest. I don't want to say jokes, but points that he made in that special, and we're almost wrapping up. It started in beginning with is when he said, George, we didn't choose George Floyd to be the hero.
Yeah.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And it's a huge, huge point. It's like whenever you see anyone that says all lives matter, if they haven't seen the 15 cartoons that have dumbed it down enough for you to not say that, then you're never going to get it.
So I stay on Facebook.
Right.
It's the same arguments. It's the same.
It is.
It's just a loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people are lost cause. I mean, they're never gonna change because.
Although I'll tell you what, I'm very impressed with white people. I see in my face there's way more white people calling out racism now. Like from these protests, way more. Yeah. I don't mean to pat you guys on the back. I just mean like
That's okay.
People seem to be more invested than they've been in the past. Time will tell, but right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like in 6 months, is it just going to go back to it?
You never know.
And we're all going to be like, they're our friends, but I got to worry about my mortgage.
Yeah,
we'll see what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
I think a lot more people are actually like I've read some books about it that I never would have read before. I think a lot of white people are finally. I mean, we all watched that man die in front of our face, and if you can't see that there is a problem by watching that, like. It's crazy, but I know a lot of white people are trying so much harder to just like, even if you think of something, like stop thinking that way. It's not going to solve it in the next little while, but at least maybe people start teaching their children better, and eventually it will get better.
Yeah, and everybody saw the arrogance on that one cop's face.
Yeah,
that had his knee on George Floyd's neck, and he had this look on his face like, you aren't going to tell me what to do. Because there was like the three other cops that were around him, and everyone's sort of like, well, why aren't those cops saying anything? Because there's a hierarchy in the police department that you're not about to sort of even call out your fellow cops, because they're going to be like, what do you know? You've only been here for this many months, and I've been here for 9 years, and look at all this shit. You're not going to tell me what to do. And that one cop had that look on his face, just like, I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me anything different.
I heard the lawyer from one of the cops that was standing there said that he was he accused the witnesses of not doing anything.
Yeah, of not knocking the
He's
cop
like,
down.
why didn't anyone do anything? I was like, okay, lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what's interesting?
We live in wonderful times.
Our job is to film now. Because that's what 100%. I went to the protest here, and they said, if you are a white person and you see something happening to a person of color, film it.
Yeah.
And if you're a white person and you're going to go to a march, don't take any selfies, which I was like, ugh.
Film the police. They said film the police.
Could there be anything more cringeworthy than you taking a selfie at a black? Look, I'm making a difference. But
okay, I have a question. I have a question for Gavin, though. Yeah. Gavin, what do you think about white people that all of a sudden have started posting selfies with their black friend?
I haven't been on social media that much.
Yeah, I guess so. But what do you think if you saw that? It's sort of annoying.
I saw
weird.
blackouts. I saw blackouts on people I thought shouldn't have blackouts, but I mean, what am I going to do? Yeah. I haven't seen it. Most of the people in my circle, when I do jump on Facebook every once in a while, are saying kind of the right stuff. And then, there's always Kenny. You always get a Kenny that jumps into a thing and has a great point, has a good, Kenny's like, I say Kenny's like Yoda. He's like or Kung Fu, the legend continues. He just kind of drifts around in the internet and then says something and then jumps out. So
he walks the earth.
He just walks the earth and he just throws out his comment and it's great. And but other than that, I haven't seen that stuff.
The only photo that I think a white person should take at a Black Lives Matter protest is a photo of other white people holding signs that say "All Lives Matter."
Yeah,
just like that.
I've been to a few protests, and there's a lot of white people, and some of them got some good signs, some spelling mistakes, and some, but who am I to judge? Spell things wrong. Most people have been pretty good. Like most people I've seen have been pretty good. I was waiting for Proud Boys to show up for a couple of them, but I haven't seen any.
Something like that happened in Edmonton. I don't know what happened.
That sounds like the place that would happen.
Totally.
No offense.
Oh, trust me. Oh, no offense taken. I'm well aware of how creepy my province can be. But I guess when everybody was taking a knee, somebody wouldn't stand. I couldn't see anything, or somebody wouldn't kneel. And so the man on stage basically said, you don't have to kneel. We know there's hate in your heart. And then he said, don't give that guy attention. That's what he wants. That's why he's here. And it was actually...
was he young?
I couldn't see anything. I don't even know if it was a Proud Boy. I don't even know if it was a counter-protester, but then in London, did you see that thing in London, England, where that black man saved like a far right guy from being trampled?
Yeah.
Did not like that shit.
You wanted him to get trampled.
Why are we saving it? The dude's out there to protest against us. It's like, get trampled. Fuck him.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's on the cop side, so fuck him.
I think people.
I get it. I get it, but it's you know what it is? It's the Green Book moment. That's the moment where white people are like, "See, we're all great." No offense to you guys. I know I say that. But it's
I said that. I thought it was nice. So now I have a different perspective.
I'm like, nah, we don't need to do that shit.
You know what's funny about the movie, The Green Book? Sorry, I'll just this is my last. But the funny thing about the Green Book movie when it came out, and then it won all the Oscars and stuff like that. The family of the Italian guy, actually, that family came out and just said, you know what, there was never any really big friendship between the two of those guys. It was really just a job to him to drive them to different concerts back and forth. And really, all that stuff about their friendship was all made up. And it was just one of those weird moments of just like, why did you shut up about that? Why did you just say, yeah, they were best friends?
Yeah.
It seemed like this would be a perfect time to build a bridge between this group and that group, and now you're actually tearing it down. I'm just like, this isn't how you sort of make people get along better with each other. But
yeah, the movie was terrible.
I am surprised. I am surprised how quick the NFL walked back on the kneeling.
Man.
And the Confederate flag. I'm very surprised that happened as quickly.
I'll give NASCAR credit because that's a huge deal.
It is
what
a
NASCAR
huge
for
deal.
them. That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
So I'll give NASCAR credit on that.
Yeah.
I heard people in the NBA might not be coming back because they're because of all this, but the NASCAR, I'll give them credit for that. That's a huge deal.
I was shocked when it happened, and
the
NFL walking back. I mean, it's just yeah. What are you going to do for him now? You're going to give him $100 million contract and say
didn't even mention his name.
I know.
Didn't even mention his name. Yeah,
I know.
Nothing.
It was like Louis C.K.'s apology.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Yeah. Him, Colin Kaepernick, Heather Hare. Those two are kind of like, they sacrifice. You see, those two people have sacrificed.
Yes.
And you're like, those are good people. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of Kaepernick doing Nike commercials, just some good people. Yeah.
All right. On that note, it's been more than half an hour. It's been 55 minutes.
I'm sorry it got so depressing.
No. This has been great. Now,
this was fun.
Push your blog, and not your blog, so your podcast. Because I want people to know.
It's Uncolonized podcast. I do it with B Black from Ottawa, and we do it. It's weekly, so we just came out with one with Sam Norton. You guys know Sam?
I know Sam. Yeah.
Yes. So he was just on it last week, and we just wanted to ask a white guy questions, so we had him on to ask him questions. It was fun, and we do it weekly. Uncolonized. It's on iTunes and Stitcher, everywhere you can get podcasts.
Perfect. Okay, and
that's the whole name, Uncolonized?
Uncolonized podcast, yeah.
Podcast, okay.
Okay, and
we do a regular show, then a Patreon one, which is Uncolonized, patreon.com/The Uncolonized, and that's a bonus episode that we do there.
I saw you did a thing. Well, okay, I mean, we've already. I know where we're going to cut this interview, but I'm just sort of saying you did a rewatch of American History X.
Yeah, we do that every once in a while. So we'll do like old movies, and then we'll do like Green Book and stuff like that, or The Help, and then Tyler Perry movies. American History X was very interesting because I hated it at first, and then because I liked it when I was younger, I hated it the first time I watched it, and then I watched it again, and you realize the framing of his past stuff, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed it.
It's always funny that one movie is like a weird one because I can see like a lot of white racists enjoying the first half of it and then going
the whole black and white. Whenever they go in the past, he looks like a superhero. Like they make him look so amazing. But what I realize is that it's the perspective of his brother seeing him as a superhero, and you're like, oh, okay. But it does look like they're glorifying Nazis in it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's done on purpose.
And it's so funny that I remember when that movie came out, and there's the scene at the dinner table. And Edward Norton starts talking about King and all that. I'm amazed. It always amazed me how many people would take his talking points from that conversation and then try to work it into their own sort of racist agenda. And it was just like,
I think I love.
It was always like that. You're literally quoting a movie, but you're leaving out the part where the guy realizes he was wrong the whole time. You know.
Yeah, they don't do the prison and getting raped thing. They just
it's just sort of like, I love Charles Manson. His records were so good, and what? You some other stuff too? Oh, I didn't know about that. Okay, well now it's I look at it in a different way. So yeah,
it's an interesting movie. Yeah, no, I liked it. I hated it and then liked it.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, Gavin. I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It. Yeah.
Take care of yourselves, guys. I'll see you later.
Good to see you.
Stay safe.
Yeah, you too. I hope this is over soon. I hope we're done soon.
I look forward to going.
Second wave, it's coming.
I think we'll be prepared for it. I hope we're prepared.
Yes.
You're adorable.
This is Andy Kindler, and you're listening to Anything Goes on XM Radio. In case you had no idea what you were doing, that's what you're doing. Continue to do it.
Dave, do you know what the word rap means? Or
I know, Dave, your stories are so long.
Well, we can cut it out if you really want to.
No,
I don't want to cut it out.
I don't want to cut it out. I'm just saying we went way too long tonight.
Oh, okay. Well,
that was almost a 2-hour show. So maybe we part 1, part 2 it. I don't know.
Up to you guys. I mean, well,
we
could put one out tomorrow and then another one out Friday.
Yeah, it's like you'll know when you stop how much time we have. It's been almost 2 hours.
Okay.
So maybe we have the opening and then Jamila, and then our episode 2 is just part 2 is just all Gavin.